There's a hidden danger most people completely miss, and it's not inflation headlines or empty shelves on social media. It's the quiet disappearance of everyday foods before anyone realizes they're gone. By the time the news admits there's a problem, the most critical items will already be wiped out, some gone before mid-2026. I've spent years tracking what vanishes first during shortages, testing shelf life, and watching supply chains fail from the inside. What I'm about to show you isn't theory, it's pattern recognition. And one item on this list surprises almost everyone, even seasoned preppers. Stay with me, because number 7 changes everything. Number 1, canned fish. When the economy cracks and supply chains start failing, animal protein is the first thing to disappear. Fresh meat depends on refrigeration, fuel, transportation, and daily deliveries. The moment any one of those breaks, grocery stores stop restocking meat counters almost immediately. That SY canned fish isn't just another pantry item, it's one of the most strategic survival foods you can own. Canned fish like tuna, salmon, sardines, mackerel, and herring offer something most survival foods don't: high-quality protein combined with healthy fats. In a crisis, calories alone aren't enough. Your body needs protein to maintain muscle, strength, immune function, and mental clarity. Without it, fatigue sets in fast, decision-making gets sloppy, and survival becomes harder than it needs to be. Canned fish delivers dense nutrition in a form that doesn't require cooking, refrigeration, or preparation. Unlike canned chicken or beef, many canned fish varieties are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which support heart health and reduce inflammation. That matters more than people realize during prolonged stress, poor sleep, and limited medical access. These fats also provide long-lasting energy, something carbs alone can't do. When food becomes scarce, the combination of protein and fat is what keeps hunger away the longest. A lot of people hesitate because of concerns about mercury, and that's valid, but manageable. Smaller fish, like sardines, anchovies, and herring naturally contain much lower mercury levels while still delivering excellent nutrition. Salmon and light tuna are also safer options compared to albacore tuna, which tends to be higher in mercury. Smart stockpiling isn't about fear, it's about choosing wisely. You don't need one type variety, protects both your health and your supply. From an economic standpoint, canned fish has another major advantage: price shock protection. During inflation and shortages, seafood prices spike fast because fresh fish depends heavily on fuel and transportation. Once prices jump, they rarely come back down. Every can you buy now locks in today's price and protects you from tomorrow's scarcity. This is how prepared families quietly stay ahead while others scramble. Shelf life is another reason canned fish belongs at the top of your list. While best buy dates might say 2 to 5 years, properly stored cans often last much longer. Cool temperatures, no dents, and no rust dramatically extend usability. Many experienced preppers have safely eaten canned fish years past, printed dates by simply checking smell and appearance. In a real emergency, having reliable protein you can trust is priceless. Most importantly, canned fish doesn't feel like survival food. It's familiar, it's versatile. You can eat it straight from the can, mix it with other pantry foods, or stretch it across multiple meals. That familiarity matters when stress is high and morale is low. Action step: don't wait for panic to push you into rushed decisions. Start now. Pick up a few cans each shopping trip: salmon, sardines, light tuna, and build a quiet reserve. Protein is the hardest thing to replace later, and canned fish is one of the smartest ways to secure it today. Number 2, canned chicken. When people imagine food shortages, they picture empty shelves and long lines. But what they often miss is how fast prices rise before food disappears. In an economic collapse, affordability becomes just as dangerous a problem as availability. That's where canned chicken earns its place as a survival essential. It may not sound dramatic, but it is one of the most realistic and sustainable proteins you can rely on when money is tight and options are limited. Canned chicken sits in a rare sweet spot. It's cheaper than canned beef, more accessible than most canned fish, and far more versatile than many emergency foods. When inflation hits hard, families don't stop needing protein, they simply lose the ability to afford it. Canned chicken allows you to stockpile real meat at today's prices, protecting your future meals from tomorrow's financial shock. Nutritionally, canned chicken delivers solid protein with relatively low fat. While it doesn't contain the omega-3 south found in fish, it still plays a critical role in maintaining muscle, strength, and immune health during long-term stress. In a crisis, weakness isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. You need foods that keep you functional. Canned chicken does that without requiring electricity, refrigeration, or cooking. One overlooked advantage of canned chicken is how easily it integrates into everyday meals. You can add it to soups, stews, rice, beans, pasta, or eat it straight from the can if necessary. This matters because survival food that feels unfamiliar often gets wasted. Canned chicken blends into normal cooking, which means you can rotate it regularly and keep your stockpile fresh without effort. You not storing food maybe eat, you restoring food you already use. Sodium is one concern that comes up often, and it's worth addressing. Many canned meats contain high salt levels, which can become an issue during prolonged emergencies. Whenever possible, choosing low-sodium varieties gives you more flexibility and protects your health over time. That said, in a true survival scenario, calories and protein still matter more than perfection. The key is balance and awareness, not avoidance. Shelf life is another major reason canned chicken belongs in your pantry. Cans list best-by dates of 1 to 2 years, but when stored properly, cool temperatures, no dents, no rust. Canned chicken often lasts much longer. Many experienced preppers report using it safely years beyond the printed date. This makes it ideal for long-term planning without constant replacement. There's also a psychological factor that shouldn't be ignored. During extended hardship, familiar comfort foods matter. Chicken is something most families, including children, recognize and accept. That familiarity reduces stress, improves morale, and makes rationing easier to manage when emotions are already strained. Action step: start building your canned chicken supply gradually. Add a few cans to each grocery trip and rotate them into your regular meals. In a collapsing economy, affordable protein becomes scarce fast, and canned chicken is one of the smartest ways to stay ahead while others fall behind. Number 3. Soups and stews. When most people think about food shortages, they focus on what they eat, but they rarely think about how they cook it. During economic collapse, power outages, fuel shortages, and disrupted utilities are not side problems. They are part of the crisis itself. This is where canned soups and stews become far more than comfort food. They are complete, ready-to-eat meals that keep you going when cooking simply isn't an option. Canned soups and stews solve multiple survival problems at once. Inside a single can, you often get protein, carbohydrates, fats, vegetables, and fluids. That combination is rare in shelf-stable foods. When stress is high and resources are limited, the ability to open a can and immediately eat a balanced meal is invaluable. You don't need electricity, gas, clean cookware, or even hot water. In the worst situations, that simplicity can be the difference between coping and breaking down. From a nutritional standpoint, these foods punch far above their weight. Beef stews provide protein and fats that sustain energy. Chicken-based soups offer protein plus hydration, which becomes critical when clean water access is uncertain. Bean-based soups deliver fiber and slow-burning calories that help control hunger over long periods. Even vegetable soups play a role by supplying essential vitamins and minerals when fresh produce is long gone. There's also an important psychological advantage here. During prolonged crises, food fatigue sets in fast. Eating the same bland staples day after day drains morale and motivation. Soups and stews bring flavor, warmth, and familiarity, things people underestimate until they're gone. A warm, hearty meal can restore calm, reduce stress, and help families feel a sense of normalcy when everything else feels unstable. Sodium content is often criticized, and rightly so, especially in long-term scenarios. High salt intake over weeks or months can cause health issues. That's why choosing low-sodium or reduced sodium options when available is smart planning, not overthinking. It gives you flexibility to consume these foods more often without long-term consequences. Still, in a true emergency, having food is more important than having perfect nutrition. Balance comes from variety, not avoidance. Historically, Soups and stews have been survival staples during wars, depressions, and natural disasters. They stretch ingredients, maximize nutrition, and require minimal preparation. That's not accidental. It's survival wisdom passed down through necessity. Modern canned versions simply make that wisdom more accessible than ever. Shelf life makes these foods even more valuable, as most canned soups and stews last several years when stored properly. They're also easy to rotate into regular meals, meaning nothing goes to waste if you plan intelligently. Unlike specialty emergency food, you won't hesitate to use them now or later. Action step. Start building a variety of soups and stews, meat-based, bean-based, and vegetable-heavy options. Now, don't rely on just one type. When cooking fails and stress peaks, having complete meals ready to go isn't a luxury. It's survival insurance. Number 4. Canned beans. If there is one food that quietly carried families through economic collapse, wars, and depressions, it's beans. They don't look impressive, they don't feel urgent, and that's exactly why so many people overlook them. But in a long-term crisis, canned beans become one of the most powerful tools in your survival pantry. Not because of what they are, but because of how much they do. Canned beans provide a rare combination of calories, protein, and fiber in one affordable package. When food is scarce, fiber slows digestion, keeping you full longer and stabilizing blood sugar. That matters more than most people realize. Hunger leads to fatigue, poor decisions, and desperation. Beans help prevent that downward spiral by stretching energy and reducing how often you need to eat. Nutritionally, beans deliver far more than just calories. They're rich in iron, magnesium, potassium, and complex carbohydrates, nutrients your body depends on during prolonged stress. In an economic collapse, fresh produce and supplements become luxury items. Beans quietly cover gaps that many survival plans miss, especially when meat becomes limited or unavailable. One of the greatest strengths of canned beans is their ability to multiply meals. A single can can turn a small portion of meat into a filling dish, bulk up soups and stews, or stand alone when nothing else is available. This makes beans a force multiplier for every other food you store. When resources shrink, foods that stretch other foods become invaluable. Historically, beans have been a cornerstone during times of hardship. During the Great Depression, families relied heavily on beans because they were cheap, filling, and dependable. That hasn't changed. When economies fail, people return to foods that sustain life efficiently, not foods that impress. Beans are survival food in its purest form. Another advantage is reliability. Canned beans have a long shelf life and are among the most forgiving foods when stored properly. Even years past their best-by date, many remain safe if the can is intact and properly stored. Unlike some foods, beans don't rely on fats that can turn rancid quickly, making them more stable over time. Variety is key here. Different beans offer different benefits. Black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, pinto beans, lentils. Rotating types prevents boredom and balances nutrition. And because beans are already cooked, they require no fuel to prepare. In a scenario where energy becomes scarce, that alone makes them essential. There's also a psychological benefit. Beans are familiar, humble, and comforting. They don't feel like emergency rations. They feel like food. That familiarity matters when stress is constant and morale is fragile. Action step. Don't underestimate this food. Start building a deep supply of canned beans in multiple varieties. They are cheap today, but priceless when food becomes scarce. Beans don't just feed you, they extend everything else you have. Number 5. Canned vegetables. When food shortages hit, most people focus on calories and protein, but what quietly destroys health during long-term crises is nutrient deficiency. You can survive for a while on starch and meat alone, but over time your body starts to break down. Energy drops, immunity weakens, wounds heal slower, and mental clarity suffers. This is why canned vegetables are not optional in a serious survival plan. They are nutritional insurance. Fresh vegetables are among the first items to disappear when supply chains fail. They rely on constant transportation, refrigeration, and short turnaround times. Once trucks stop moving or prices surge, produce sections empty fast. Canned vegetables bypass all of that. They lock in nutrients at the time of processing and preserve them for years, waiting quietly on your shelf. Different vegetables bring different benefits, and that variety matters. Green vegetables like spinach, green beans, and peas provide essential vitamins and minerals that support immune function and muscle health. Carrots and mixed vegetables contribute vitamin A, which is critical for vision and immunity to things you cannot afford to lose in a crisis. Corn, while less nutrient-dense, delivers calories and familiarity that help maintain energy and morale. One mistake many people make is stockpiling only one or two vegetables. In normal times, that might not matter. In a survival situation, it absolutely does. Nutritional diversity prevents deficiencies and keeps meals from becoming mentally exhausting. Eating the same thing day after day wears people down faster than hunger itself. Canned vegetables give you options when options disappear. Another overlooked benefit is meal flexibility. Vegetables can stand alone as side dishes, bulk up soups and stews, or balance heavy foods like beans and meats. This flexibility allows you to stretch rations without sacrificing health. Prolonged emergencies. The ability to adapt meals to what you have is a form of survival skill, and canned vegetables make that adaptation possible. Shelf life adds to their value. Most canned vegetables last several years when stored in cool, dry conditions away from sunlight. They are also easy to rotate into everyday cooking, meaning nothing has to go to waste. Smart preparedness isn't about hoarding food you'll never touch. It's about building reserves that naturally cycle through your household. From a long-term health perspective, vegetables help prevent issues that don't show up immediately, but become dangerous over time: weakened immunity, digestive problems, and chronic fatigue. During an economic collapse, medical care may be limited or unavailable. Preventing health problems through nutrition becomes just as important as treating them. Action step: build your vegetable supply with variety in mind. Focus on greens, mixed vegetables, and familiar staples. Calories keep you alive short-term, but nutrition keeps you functional long-term, and canned vegetables are how you protect that future. Number 6. Canned fruits in a long-term crisis. Survival isn't only about staying alive, it's about staying functional. That's where canned fruits play a critical but often underestimated role. When stress is constant and resources are limited, your body and mind both suffer. Canned fruits provide fast energy, essential vitamins, hydration, and something just as important: emotional relief. Fruits are naturally rich in carbohydrates that convert quickly into energy. During emergencies, physical activity often increases while food intake becomes unpredictable. That combination drains energy fast. The natural sugars in canned fruits help stabilize energy levels without the crash that comes from processed sweets. At the same time, fruits like peaches, pears, and pineapples supply potassium and other minerals that support muscle function and hydration. Vitamin C becomes especially important during crises, and canned fruits like mandarin oranges and pineapple help fill that gap. When fresh fruits disappear from stores, which happens quickly during supply disruptions, canned options become one of the only reliable sources of immune-supporting nutrients. Over time, vitamin deficiencies weaken resistance to illness, something you cannot afford when healthcare access is uncertain. There's also a psychological side that many survival plans ignore. In stressful conditions, morale drops fast. Meals become repetitive, bland, and mechanical. Canned fruits break that cycle. They taste familiar, sweet, and comforting. For children especially, fruit can feel like a treat rather than rationed food. That emotional lift matters more than people realize when fear and uncertainty become daily realities. Hydration is another hidden benefit. Many canned fruits are packed in juice or syrup, which adds fluid intake when clean water is limited. While water should always be prioritized, these small sources of hydration help reduce strain on stored supplies. In survival situations, every advantage adds up. Shelf life, however, requires honesty. Canned fruits are often more acidic than vegetables or meats, which means they don't always last as long. Over time, acidity can weaken cans and increase the risk of spoilage. This doesn't make them unsafe to store. It simply means rotation is critical, and fruit should be used and replaced more frequently than other items, making them ideal for households that already consume them regularly. Variety matters here too. Peaches for vitamin A, pears for fiber, mandarin oranges for vitamin C, mixed fruits for antioxidants. Each type brings something different to the table. Relying on one fruit limits both nutrition and enjoyment. Ignoring canned fruits because they seem non-essential is a mistake many people make. Survival isn't just about calories and protein. It's about maintaining strength, morale, and mental clarity over time. Action step: stock canned fruits thoughtfully and rotate them often. Use them as energy boosters, morale builders, and nutritional support. In a prolonged crisis, small comforts can make the difference between enduring and giving up. Number 7. Canned milk when people prepare for food shortages. Milk is rarely at the top of the list, and that's exactly why it becomes a problem during crises. Fresh milk depends on refrigeration, daily deliveries, and tightly controlled logistics. The moment power outages, fuel shortages, or transportation disruptions hit, milk disappears almost instantly. That's when canned milk quietly becomes one of the most valuable items in a survival pantry. Canned milk, especially evaporated milk, solves a problem many families don't realize they have until it's too late. Children rely on milk for nutrition and comfort, and adults use it for cooking, baking, and maintaining normal routines. When it's suddenly gone, meals become harder to prepare, and stress levels rise. Evaporated milk restores that sense of normalcy by providing a shelf-stable alternative that works in almost every situation. Nutritionally, canned milk delivers calcium, vitamin D, and fats that support bone health, muscle function, and energy levels. During an economic collapse, deficiencies creep in quietly. Over time, weak bones, fatigue, and compromised immunity become real risks. Milk helps fill those gaps without requiring refrigeration, making it uniquely valuable when infrastructure fails. Taste matters more than people admit. Powdered milk technically works, but many families avoid it because of texture and flavor. Evaporated milk, once diluted with water, tastes remarkably close to fresh milk. In stressful situations, food that feels familiar is more likely to be consumed, especially by children. That means less waste and more effective nutrition. Shelf life is shorter than some other canned foods, typically 1 to 2 years, but that doesn't make canned milk a poor choice. It simply means it should be used and replaced intentionally, because milk is already part of daily life. Rotating canned milk into regular cooking is easy. When expiration dates approach, you can use it without anyone even noticing the difference. Canned milk also plays a critical role in food versatility. It allows you to prepare soups, sauces, baked goods, and comfort foods that would otherwise be impossible during shortages. This expands your food options dramatically and helps prevent meal fatigue, a serious psychological challenge during long-term crises. In economic downturns, dairy prices often rise sharply due to transportation and refrigeration costs. Having canned milk already stored protects you from sudden price spikes and supply disruptions. It's not just about survival, it's about maintaining stability when everything else becomes uncertain. Action step: don't overlook this quiet essential. Add evaporated milk to your stockpile in manageable quantities and rotate it regularly. When fresh milk disappears, the families who planned ahead won't panic, they'll adapt. There's one truth history keeps proving, it's this: hope isn't a strategy. Economic collapse, shortages, and supply chain failures don't send warnings. They arrive suddenly and punish hesitation. The difference between panic and stability comes down to preparation. You don't need to do everything at once, but you do need to start today. One can, one shelf, one smart decision at a time. Every item you store now buys you security later. The future will reward those who acted early and expose those who waited. Take control while you still can.